Okay, I'd like to explain a couple of keywords and make a few language notes before we kind of finish this off, because you'll have noticed that there are a lot of words that mean the same thing and some that have a couple of subtle differences. First of all, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that at the start of our OOP notes there are a couple of definitions. There's a page of definitions here, which are quite important to say the least, but previously on the previous page there's also a link to a document with loads of examples of each one, which is probably going to be more relevant when you do your real IB exam, but in case you really can't find a good definition that you understand, there are lots of examples here. Okay. Now, having said that, let's just jump across to an example of code here and some of the things that we've been talking about before. This is a class, our human being class, as it was at the beginning or a while back, and it has, first of all, some variables at the very top. Now, these variables, doesn't matter whether they're private or public, these are, obviously, the general name for variables is state, and the general name for, let's just say all of this is state, and the general name for all of our methods is behavior. Now, we have, because these are at the very top and they are kind of characteristics of a human being, these are called fields. All of these are fields. This, and this. They're all fields, okay? Now, the variable name, first name, is a field, last name is a field, age is a field, weight is a field, and counter is a field. Also, the values which they contain are called attributes. So 71 kilograms is an attribute, 46 is an attribute, etc. Okay, so attributes we're defining currently as the value that those variables contain, and fields are the names of those variables. Now, we're not talking about these variables here. These are local variables. Just get rid of that X, in case it confuses anyone. These are local variables. The reason they're called local is because they only exist for this method. They are passed into this method, and as soon as this method finishes, they only really exist from here to here. They don't exist in the whole class, so therefore they're not fields. Okay. Now, another name for fields, you'll find this happens quite a lot, is instance variables. So fields and instance variables are the same thing. Also, attributes and values mean the same thing. Okay, so we have attributes and values, that means these, and we have fields and instance variables, which means these. Okay, all right, good. Now, looking down here at these, obviously these two are kind of special because they have the same name as the class. So therefore they are called constructors. Now, a constructor, as you remember, is a method with the same name as the class, which doesn't return any value or even says void in it. It's just the name of the class, followed by brackets and whatever parameters it takes. There also, I've left in two different functions here. One is void, so therefore it doesn't return any value at all. Therefore that is a procedure. And one does return a value, so this is a function. Now together, a procedure and a function are both called methods or operations. The IB usually calls them methods. Okay? We'll go through it one more time. These are both constructors. Now, a constructor isn't, even though it looks like a method, it's not strictly, it's something quite separate, because you don't call it explicitly. It gets called by default when you make a new class. These are, below that I have a procedure, because it's a method which doesn't return anything. Void means nothing. And a function, which is a method that returns something, in this case a string. Now, there are, as we dealt with earlier on, there are special types of function and procedure called a get and a set. Another name for that, a get is a accessor. Another name for a set is a mutator. And what they do is this one reads, doesn't change anything, just reads, and this one writes. Because remember I said that if I wanted the name not to be able to be changed, to be immutable it's called, then I would only provide a read and not provide a write. In other words, I'd only provide a get and not a set. Now, just out of interest, remember that these are methods. Okay, so they are methods and they're either functions or procedures. A get is always a function because it returns something, and a set is always a procedure. Now, is there anything else? I don't think so. I think this is confusing enough the way it is. Right, what I will do is I'm just going to take a very, very quick screenshot of this, which I'm going to include inside this section of our OOP, notes about language. Just going to put it inside here very quickly so that we have it. And it is, oh, possibly one more thing. Hang on just a second. Where are we? What was this one? No, 9:17 AM. No, it's absolutely not. Something completely different. Hang on. Just insert that again. Pretty sure I dropped off all my screenshots in the desktop. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so I hope that makes a bit of sense. If not, you can watch it in conjunction with this video. Other things that could come up sometimes. All right, why not? Let's just look at this now. A typical example question, which could come up. Not saying it will. It could come up. You might have to use these words to translate what it's trying to ask you for. For example, if I say can the state of an object affect the result of an operation on that object. Okay, so let's look at state. Right, so state is a variable, so I'm going to say can a variable affect the result of an operation on that. Now, an operation is a method or a function. If it says the result, then that's the return type of a function. In other words, can a variable change what a function returns? Can a variable change what a function returns? Okay, well, and what about a get? A get function? If I say get name, and it returns this dot name, in that case, you know, if name is different, that's going to affect what it returns, isn't it? Put the return type in there. So in other words, in a case of a get or a lot of other different types of functions, yes, a variable can change what a function returns because a function can return a variable. So that would be a true. So there are a couple of other examples like that, but what I'd like you to do if you see a question like this, just change the word state for variable, change the word method or operation for function or procedure, and then read it back to yourself and see if it makes any more sense. Okay? The other possibility is if it uses keywords like accessors and mutators, which you know are equivalent to gets and sets. Alright? Okay.